What's up, everybody? I'm Flash. This is One Man's Opinion, the show where we cover just about everything, and today we're diving straight into Bleach. This is my first Bleach video. I have had thoughts of doing a couple of Bleach videos, but have never really pulled the trigger on them. So if you're interested in other Bleach videos, something maybe akin to what I've done with like Dragon Ball Z videos or Dragon Ball Super videos in the past, let me know about that in the comments below. Or if you have like another anime that you think I might be interested in. I watch quite a bit of anime. So if there's something else you would like to hear me talk about, a different subject, a different anime, whatever it is, let me know those things down in the comments below. Today we got to get into this 1,000-year blood arc. Now let me be honest up front, I don't read the manga. I'm an anime guy. I would like to. I just never really seem to have time to get into it. I'm quite busy. And so watching the anime itself is the way that I consume the content. Having said that, I think there are some real pros to only watching anime. That is, I had no idea what to expect from this. Like, I didn't do any, I stayed away from videos that were covering this arc for this purpose because I didn't want to know what was going to happen, and I could not be happier for a wide range of reasons. I almost did a video on the end of Aizen's arc. You know, the whole, well, really, I almost did a video on the entirety of Bleach, all the way through the Fullbring stuff, like all the way up until, you know, where they had stopped, which is just before the 1,000-year blood arc. I almost did a video on all that, talking about what I don't like about Bleach. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Bleach, and I've been watching Bleach for well over 10 years. Like, for a long time, I've watched the Bleach anime. I can remember back in the day before YouTube got really strict, I would watch Bleach episodes on YouTube back when I was in high school. Anyway, I used to watch those episodes, and so, like, I've been a fan for a long time, and I absolutely love Bleach. I think it's one of the greatest animes of all time, sincerely. But I always thought that Bleach had a really glaring problem, and that problem was there were no real stakes in Bleach. Even when Aizen was at his strongest and he had the Arancars with him, even with all their power and everything that they were capable of, no one ever died, which is strange for Bleach. Bleach is a show with a plethora of interesting, awesome characters. Like, honestly, it's astounding how many great characters are in Bleach. And through having so many characters, you would think that they would take the opportunity to really set the stage for a strong villain by showing their strength and killing off some of those characters that we either love or that we respect or that we enjoy, to really show how serious and that there are stakes, and to show that this villain is not to be trifled with. I always expected that from Aizen, but the most you really got were, you know, a few lost limbs for a few characters. And so, like, it really took the wind out of the sails for me. It was really strange that no one ever really bit the dust in the Waco Mundo arc or anything after that. It seemed like the perfect opportunity to really set the stage for a serious villain. And Aizen's amazing. Aizen's a great villain. And Gin Ichimaru and all of them, they were amazing villains. Even though Gin had the turn toward the end. But that was my biggest thing. Like, of course Gin died. And of course some of the bad guys died. No major characters. None of Ichigo's friends. None of the 13 Court Guard Squad. None of those characters. You have so many, and it seemed like the perfect time to do it, and it just never happened. And that was my biggest gripe with Bleach for a long time, is that it's an amazing show with amazing characters and an amazing story and a lot of rich and awesome lore. But through all that, the story just doesn't really have stakes for anyone but villains, but the bad guys, or very minor characters that you only get to know for a few episodes. 1,000-Year Blood Arc changed all that, and it did it quickly. I gotta be honest with you, it did it to such a point that I was like, this is what I wanted, but did I really want this? When the Quincy's show up in the Soul Society and they start blitzing everybody and people are dying left and right, I was like, Oh, wow. I mean, when Head Captain Yamamoto went down, like when he was beating the Quincy King, whose name I have a lot of difficulty pronouncing, so I'm going to try to stay away from that. But when he was, just slapping that dude around, I was like, this is way too easy. And then when it happened and it turned out to be like a dude who could just shapeshift or whatever, and the King showed up and he killed Yamamoto, it was like, dang, man. And then to see Byakuya get beat, especially in the way that he did, a guy who's so unflinching, Byakuya is so cool under every circumstance. He's such a cool, just level-headed dude. He just gives off that air of like, I'm better than you and I know it.
I'm better than you, and you know it.
And to see him get beat, especially by a guy who uses fear, which is something you never attribute to Byakuya. If anything, maybe arrogance or pride, but you would never attribute fear to him. To see him get beat by that is even more of a dagger. Renji gets blitzed, Rukia blitzed. Like, people are falling left and right. And the whole time I'm like, well, Kenpachi ought to be fine because he doesn't have a Bankai. And sure enough, he shows up, he's killed 3 of them, and then, he's done. Kenpachi's done. So, like, it's super smart the way that they took it, and there's so much gravity now. You really feel like by the end of the story, anyone could die because it's going to be a war. It is the 1,000-year blood war. That's what it's going to be. And so more people, I expect more people will die as it goes. And I'm completely here for that, but it also puts you on the edge as a spectator, as a consumer. You watch it and you're like, who are we gonna lose? Will Chad die? Will Udiu? Will he die? Is he gonna side with the Quincy's or is he gonna side with Ichigo? I expect him to side with Ichigo and company. I think he'll be on Ichigo's side through the end of it. But it's fascinating because it could take so many different turns. Beyond having this edge to it, it's also filling in so many blanks, so many gaps in the story. How was Ichigo able to beat Kenpachi when they first met, and Ichigo was so weak comparatively to where they end up? Why, what's the deal with Ichigo's powers? They've always seemed a little bit off, something different about them. Like, all these questions are finally getting answered. We're seeing people come into their own and finally get stronger. I can't wait to see what Renji is capable of now that his Zanpakuto has been fixed. I can't wait to see what Ichigo is going to be capable of now that his Zanpakuto is fixed. And what will it look like when he uses his Soul Reaper powers versus, how much of those Quincy powers is he going to unlock? And also with the holification. We haven't seen him put the mask on in a long time. Will he have a form that combines all 3 or 4 if you count his human side? Will you see like that perfect gathering of all parts of Ichigo finally come together for one amazing form? I don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know what it's going to be like. I know it's going to be phenomenal, though. The action in this is incredible. And let me say, while I'm on the subject of things that I really like about this, the animation for this anime. Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. I love old school animation. The old Bleach episodes, the old Dragon Ball Z episodes. I love old school anime. A lot of the newest anime stuff, I'm not a big fan of. You can look at Dragon Ball Super for the best example of that. I don't really care for Dragon Ball Super's animation at all. I would much rather watch Z any day of the week. The glistening, like, shiny, everybody looks like a little more rounded. I know that we have like a higher definition of television these days, and so that affects, what kind of animation you want to use. And sure, I get all that. Bleach nailed it. I think everything looks better in Bleach. I really like the direction that they've taken the animations. I love how sharp it is. It's so sharp. It looks so good. It doesn't take away from the feeling of the show. I think when Dragon Ball Super came out, it was so shiny and so glistening and so rounded and soft. that it took the edge away that you had in Z. It looked like a kid's show. It didn't look like an adult anime, you know, where somebody's head might get blown off, you know, like, which is what these shows typically are. I don't think Bleach lost that edge at all. In fact, I think they sharpened that edge. I think, if anything, the show looks more adult. It's a little sharper. It's a little darker at times, but it still has moments of levity. Honestly, man, top to bottom, I think that they've absolutely nailed this arc. We're only 13 episodes in, and I'm so excited. I'm chomping at the bit. I'll tell you how excited I am. Never a day in my life have I watched subbed anime. Never. I hate subbed anime because I feel like if I'm reading the text at the bottom, I'm missing things going on in the show. And like, you might not miss much reading because you still get an idea for it, but you may miss like a little facial expression. You may miss something in the background. You know, there's little details where if your eyes aren't focused on the actual picture, you might miss little things that hint at, you know, foreshadowing things to come later in the show. Things that only, you know, that only certain people pick up on, you know, like you might miss those little details if you're busy reading subtitles. So I prefer the dub, even though I know that that's controversial. I prefer the dub. This is the first time that I've ever just been like, I'm watching the sub because I've got to finish this. I was watching the episodes, waiting as they come out here, there, you know, whatever it was. And I got to episode 12, 13's not out. And I'm like, I'm watching 13 subbed. I don't care. I will watch it subbed. And I did, and I was happy. So I'll probably watch the dub when it comes out. But this show is so good, and it looks so good, and it's honestly, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's everything that is great about Bleach. If you love Bleach, it's everything amazing about Bleach, plus what Bleach was lacking. Plus that edge, that grittiness, that unpredictability until now. And I'm just completely blown away with it. It's only the first 13 episodes of the arc, and so I'm not going to give it a rating yet because, you know, maybe the next 13 episodes I'm not too crazy about. So I want to wait and see where it goes. I just wanted to get on here and talk about it because I'm so excited, and I'm sure some of you guys are too. I'm completely pumped and jacked for where it's headed, and I can't wait to see what direction the story goes. It's all been so interesting and so powerful so far, and it honestly, it's to that point where it could take any direction, and so I'm here for it. I cannot wait. Let me know what you guys think about Bleach so far, this first 13 episodes, what you guys are excited and looking forward to coming up. If you know what's going to happen, I would ask that you stay away from any major spoilers. Like, I don't want to know a major character death or anything like that. But if you're like, wait till you see Ichigo's new Bankai, you know, or something along those lines, I don't mind you making mention of those things in the comments below. Just stay away from the major spoilers. I trust you guys. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Let me know your thoughts down below. And if you thought that 1,000 Year Blood Arc was bad and that it spit in the face of everything that come before it and it was horrible and that, in my opinion, is trash and that it's all bad, just don't get mad about it. Remember that this is just one man's opinion. Thanks.